3D Rainbow Unicorn Acrylic Nail Art Tutorial by Hotpinkzebrapolish. So I'm going to create a silver glittery background. So taking a bead of clear acrylic, I'm just going to dip that into some silver glitter because I didn't have an acrylic that was just perfect silver glitter. So if you have one that is a silver glitter mix that you like, go for it, use it, or whatever other background you'd want to use. So I'm now going to be encasing that glitter with a layer of clear acrylic, and this is also the stage where you're going to want to build your nail structure. So keep that in mind, but it also doesn't need to be super thick because you're going to be putting this unicorn on top and that's going to add a lot of thickness. So you want to keep this thin as well. So now with a 150 grit file, I'm going to be filing my surface. It wasn't too rough, so I didn't have to do too much filing, but file however much you need. And then once you have that, so it's exactly how you want it, I'm going to buff it with a 240 grit padded buffer just to smooth out any scratches. So now with white, I'm going to be working on my unicorn's face, and I'm planning to have it go off the sides a little bit. So I'm keeping that in mind as I'm doing this. And so if you're building a face like this one off the sides of the nail, you have to use really stiff beads of acrylic. So after you get the acrylic bead on your brush, flip your brush over and press it against your towel to take some of the monomer out of the back. And this is going to give yourself a really thick, workable acrylic that will help you when you're building something off the edge of the nail like we're doing right here. So yeah, so I've got the side of the face with a little bit of an eye socket, which is that one bump, and then it comes down to the nose and then up into the jaw. And so now I'm going to be doing just a little bit of neck and the tip of the nail. And one ear is going to be in the background behind the mane, which we're doing that one now. And the other ear, did I say knee? Not knee, ear, goes in front of the mane, so we're going to do that later. So sculpt the one ear. So now I'm going to be getting out all of my bright colored acrylics that I'm going to be using for her mane. And so I'm using purple, yellow, green, orange, and pink. Yeah, there we go. So I'm just going to take colors and I'm just going to start adding them in for the mane. And in this beginning part, I'm not going to take them too far across the face because in the middle we have to add our horn. So I'm going to do the ones that are on the back side of the horn. And so I'm just going to be building up these colors and layering them because she's got rainbow hair. Yay, rainbow hair. Anyways, and these acrylics are a little bit glittery, so that also kind of goes in with that whole glittery unicorn theme. And I'm also going to add some mane coming down and curling around the side of her neck on the bottom. So now I'm going to be using a blue and a different shade of purple, a little bit darker, and I'm going to start building up the horn. So I'm doing this in different color layers. So I'm going to do blue, purple, and so on. And I built the horn in several different stages. So I did 3 beads right now, and then I pressed in the sides, and it took a lot of pressing and a lot of patience here because you have to pretty much be pressing and pushing this acrylic bead or acrylic stack, I suppose, until it has set up enough that it's not going to move on its own, which does take a little bit of time. And you also want to push the horn so that it's going at a slight angle because you don't want it to be straight out because that's going to be the wrong angle. Our unicorn's face is at an angle, so it has to continue on with that same flow of lines. So then once you've got that little base of your horn started, I would continue working on different aspects of your unicorn, going back to the horn periodically to add more layers until it's the length that you want. Otherwise, you can just wait and let that set and then come back to it 5 minutes later and add some more and then come back to it, or, just keep coming back until it's the horn you want. But I think it's easier to take a break from the horn and then come back to it later. So I finished all of my mane, so just go through with colors and swirl them around your unicorn's horn, and then I'm going to take a really wet bead of pink and I'm going to be shading in the nose and some in the ear. And then with white, as I mentioned, there's going to be that second ear that goes on top of the mane, which is what this one is right here. So that is going to go up and over the mane. So now I'm going to be adding another layer to the horn. And as I'm getting up higher, I'm going to be doing just one bead at a time, or one or two. That way I have a little bit more control and I can be confident it's going to stay where it is. So then after I got my black eye placed, sorry I missed speaking through that part, I'm going to be adding a blue bead to our horn, and then adding a white eyelid over the top of the black bead. And as you're working on your horn, once again, you're going to want to continually make your beads smaller so that so that the horn tapers and comes to a nice point. Otherwise, it's going to stay in this really wide cylindrical form all the way up. So as you can see, they're getting smaller as I go. And so now I'm back to purple, and so it's going to, I think I did 2 more beads after this, and the last one you want to do it really quite small so that it comes to that nice point. Yeah. And so there we go with a blue one. And if it helps you, after you get the bead placed, you can tip it upside down, the whole nail tip upside down for a second, so that instead of running down the horn, it runs down and it comes to a point on its own. But, you know, find what works for you. And also, I wouldn't make your horn crazy dangerous pointy, because that could be really fragile and really dangerous. So be careful with that as well. So I'm just going to take light gray paint, and I'm going to separate our jawline from our neck and then put a little line on each ear. And so now with black, I'm going to be painting our nostril, which is like a seed shape, and then a little smile. And then going over all those gray lines we put before. Those were just sort of a sketch so that we knew where the black line was going to be, so that you don't place the black line and then have it be in the wrong place. So now with watered down white paint, I'm going to be highlighting his face. So you're going to take your brush and you're going to dip it in a bead of white, and then you can dip the brush, white paint and all, into some water. And that's going to water it down so you have a little bit more of control and it's more of a wash instead of really sharp lines. So now I'm going to be using full strength white, and I'm going to be highlighting our unicorn's eye and then also our unicorn's mane so it looks nice and shiny. And so I'm also going to just go over and make a little highlight on the horn. So I'm going to be applying a glossy gel sealer over the glittery background and over the eye, the horn, and the mane. Once that has cured, you are all set. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you like this design. Please share any recreations with me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. I would really love to see them, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!